What's the deal here? I was under the impression your company had people who could speak several languages on this deal. So we went out of our way to set this up. What, several languages? I hadn't heard a word about that. Is this some kind of mix-up? This is a major negotiation with the future of our company on the line, and our CEO was giving the presentation in English. Then someone starts asking questions in Chinese. We definitely weren't prepared for Chinese. Don't tell me you lied to us just to set up this negotiation. Your company would do anything, huh? This is going to turn into a trust issue. No, you've got it all wrong. Just like the CEO, I was also feeling the pressure. I had to say something. I raised my voice and stood up. Please wait, I will answer this. As expected, all eyes in the room turned to me. There was no turning back now. This was the beginning of my moment, my grand stage. My name is Kyle. I'm 23 and currently in the middle of job hunting. The company I worked for as a new grad prioritized profits over the well-being of its employees, leading to my resignation after it took a toll on my health. Raised by a single mom, I couldn't afford college and started working right after high school. I was determined to give back to my mom, who had brought me up on her own, but being forced to quit my job left me in a panic. Finding mid-career positions for someone with just a high school diploma is tough. While I'm not picky about jobs for my own sake, having someone to support changes the equation. At an interview today, mentioning my educational background and my health-related departure from my last job elicited a wary response. Opening my planner, crammed with interview appointments, I let out a sigh. I need to get back to work soon. The dream of easing my mom's burden seems more like a fantasy. Descending from the subway in downtown New York, I noticed a person huddled against the wall of a building, grimy and bent. Are they feeling ill? People around glance over, but nobody seems to approach them. We should help each other out in times of need, grow up to be kind and willing to lend a hand. My mom used to tell me. Without hesitation, I crouched next to them. Are you feeling all right? Should I call an ambulance? They were dabbing their mouth with a handkerchief, sweating profusely. I couldn't help but feel startled. The woman, who appeared slightly older than me, was strikingly beautiful. Wearing a suit, she might be working. Ignoring me staring, she squinted and looked my way. Yes, I'm fine, just a bit dizzy. You don't look fine, let's sit on that bench over there for now, can you walk? I supported her to a bench in the plaza in front of the station and helped her sit down. I bought water from a nearby vending machine and handed it to her. Are you sure you don't need an ambulance? Yes, it happens often, I just need to rest a bit to feel better. Happens often, you shouldn't be out working in that condition. Please take better care of yourself. I regretted the impulsiveness of my statement. Take care of yourself is something I often say to my mom. She worked tirelessly for me, never minding her own health. I want to make sure you have plenty to eat. She would say, even though it led to her being immobilized by exhaustion or anemia more times than I can count. Even if we were wealthy, even if we could have a full meal every day. I couldn't call myself happy if my most precious mom wasn't well. That's why I can't stand people who overdo it. Well, considering I fell ill at my previous job, I'm not one to talk. I never expected to be lectured. The woman, looking a bit better, chuckled. I'm sorry for being rude. Rude, you were worried about me, right? Thank you, and for taking care of me too. Not at all, I'm just glad to see you're feeling better. Just then, my dress shoes, which I had carelessly placed by the bench, tipped over. When I took out my wallet, it was still open, causing the contents to spill out onto the ground. The documents that had spread to the woman's feet were scooped up by her white hands. Sorry for the trouble, and thank you for picking those up. No, oh. Perhaps catching a glimpse of the document's contents, the woman initiated a conversation with me. Are you job hunting? Yes, more accurately, I'm looking for a new job. Really, you look young enough to be a college student. Age-wise, that's correct, but I only have a high school diploma. My previous employer had a toxic workplace. I found myself sharing my life story with a woman I had just met. By the time I realized I was pouring my heart out to someone who was feeling unwell, I had already told her everything. I'm sorry for dumping all this on you, please forget it. You. The woman, seemingly much recovered, stood up and grabbed my shoulder. Then, she said something completely unexpected. Why don't you come work for my company? What? Later, I found myself standing in front of an office building in a prime location. Nervously, I passed through the automatic doors and called the designated number on the target floor. Yes, this is White speaking. Good morning, this is Kyle. I've just arrived. Thanks for calling, I'll come to meet you. Shortly after, the woman from the other day appeared from behind the reception. Her name is White. She's the president of the hotel management company right in front of me. After helping White know President White at the station, I was unexpectedly scouted and shocked when she showed me her business card. The White Group is well known as a hotel management company, originally operating business hotels. They have recently expanded into various ventures catering to both domestic and international tourists. To think a company like this would hire someone like me, it seemed too good to be true, despite my suspicions that it might be a scam. Seeing White's face as she came out of the headquarters forced me to believe it was real. To be hired despite not having significant qualifications, and having left a company due to illness. I can only be grateful to White. I vowed to work hard for her company. Not just for my mom, but also for my new benefactor too, White. I swore to myself that no matter what happens, I won't give up. Yes. Even if I'm not well regarded by other employees? Joining the company as a high school grad, is that even a thing? With just high school English, isn't this company too tough? Whispers about me and indirect remarks saying I'm out of place became a daily occurrence. The White Group is filled with people who graduated from prestigious universities. The idea of having a high school graduate in the same office must be unthinkable to them. In fact, there is no direct entry position for high school graduates. I'm a high school grad, but I was able to join as a mid-career hire because of my work experience. However, everyone else joining mid-career at this company is aiming for career advancement. There's nobody in the same situation as me. To other employees, my presence, neither exceptionally intelligent nor aimed at boosting my own skills, must be unwelcome. It's understandable if they think, why is someone like him here? Kyle, did you not have enough money to go to college? Well, yes. You could have used student loans. I wanted to start working as soon as possible. That much, it's terrible for parents to make their children go through such hardship. I bristled at the mention of my mother, but wasn't childish enough to raise my voice. They speak that way because they don't know anything about my mom. Don't worry about it. That's what I tell myself. Despite being looked down upon like this, it's not like my current workplace has excessive working hours or no days off, unlike my previous job. I am actually quite fortunate. Complaining about not being understood by those around me is not an option. Even so, to hire a high school graduate in a company with such high corporate value, what is the president thinking? Well, she's just the acting president after all. I tilted my head at my senior's words, who did not hesitate to look down on me. Acting. Haven't you heard, until 6 months ago, it was the current president's father who was in charge. Then, the predecessor suddenly fell ill, and White had to quickly step in as the second generation. Is that so? She's still learning the ropes of managing the company, and as a professional, she's considered a novice. Who knows when she might be ousted from her position? That's why it's temporary. The seniors laughed together at this. To hear White talked about in such a way by her employees, she must not have built enough trust yet. It's understandable. It was an emergency situation. I remembered the first time I met White. Despite clearly being unwell, she insisted, I'm fine. Her current circumstances and pressure might be making her feel unwell. I probably would have been crushed under the weight much sooner. I wish White could be at peace, but that doesn't seem likely. If only there was something I could do. But, yeah, it's probably only a matter of time before she gets replaced as president. Another senior, who had been listening to our conversation, chimed in. After all, the real candidate for president is already here. The real candidate. Yeah, you know, Director Smith over there. The senior discreetly pointed to a male employee who was talking amicably with his subordinates. He appeared to be in his early 40s, youthful yet commanding respect. Until the previous president stepped down, the rumor was that Smith was going to be the next president. His father runs a company too, and it seems he was groomed for success from a young age. He's competent and has the trust of those around him, so everyone thought he was the sure next president. Smith can turn even the mistakes of those around him into opportunities. However, due to the sudden nature of the transition, the presidency was passed to the current president's own daughter, whom he trusted. That's what everyone says. It's unclear what the predecessor intended. But it seems everyone believed without a doubt that Smith would be the next president. The fact that this expectation and hope were not met seems to have intensified the scrutiny on White. Perhaps it's also because they were peers. White faces criticism based on mere speculation. I wonder how she feels working under these conditions. Kyle, how's it going? It had been a month since I joined. I had been called in by White. She must be concerned about me since she personally scouted me to join. I've got a general grasp of the work, I'm still being supported by everyone, so there are no major issues. In reality, there are issues with interpersonal relationships, but I kept silent to avoid causing her any worry. I don't want to add to her burdens. I'm glad to hear that. Since we deal with international clients, I was wondering about your English skills. I've managed to keep up with my English studies, so there hasn't been any trouble so far. That's good to hear. I actually struggled with English, so I was a bit worried. My mom always said I should study languages. She used to say that in the future, not knowing English would be a disadvantage. Your mother sounds like a wise woman. Yes, however, I do struggle with business English and technical terms. Everyone does it first, it's all about getting used to it, so keep at it. Don't worry, you're one of our employees now. Yes. White smiled warmly. Yeah, Kyle, you really give me energy. Is that so? Yes. Oh, by the way, did I ever properly explain why I scouted you? You mentioned my character and enthusiasm. Right, what if I said it's because you're my type? What? I was taken aback by her unexpected remark. I've never been popular in my life. I've never had a woman show any interest in me like that. But I'm an adult. I'm sure it wasn't serious, alright? Well, I have a meeting now, so I'll leave it here. Ignoring me in a daze, White left her office. My heart was pounding loudly due to her sudden remark. Am I being played with? Yet, I didn't feel bad about it. After mastering technical English, work started to go smoothly. I began to prepare documents in English and successfully conducted business negotiations with overseas clients. I myself started to enjoy my work and quickly developed a passion for the industry, despite being new to this field. Even the seniors who initially looked down on me for being a high school grad began to acknowledge, you're actually pretty good. While there are still some who talk behind my back saying, despite being just a high school grad, the work environment has become much more comfortable compared to when I first joined. Kyle, well done. That client is known for being impatient. And we were having trouble, but thanks to your smooth handling, things are likely to proceed smoothly now. Receiving praise from the director left me unsure how to react. I had never been praised in my previous company. It was always assumed that I was just supposed to be able to do everything. I wasn't sure if I should be openly happy or modestly say, I still have a lot to learn. This is where you show that you're happy. I heard White's voice and she placed a hand on my shoulder. Before I knew it, she was standing next to me. She must be just trying to show her appreciation for me, her subordinate, but the unexpected touch made my face heat up. Does she not realize she's beautiful? White, the CEO. I was just surprised because you looked like you were scolded even though you were being praised. Oh, I'm sorry. You need to stop apologizing right away, you haven't done anything wrong. Yes, thank you. I bow my head to the department head and White. The department head scratched his cheek, looking back and forth, between me and White. Well, I had my doubts when Kyle joined us, but it seems I worried for nothing. My ability to judge people isn't so bad, is it? That's certainly true. The department head, who has a longer tenure with the company than White, laughed along with her. Originally, he was White's superior, but now their positions have reversed. I had heard from him before that he felt awkward about this, but perhaps she is gradually getting used to it. As I watched the two of them, I felt a sharp gaze. Turning around, I saw Smith looking at me. Now that I think about it, Smith was rumored to be the next CEO candidate. I wonder what he thinks about that. Was it just the buzz from others? And he's not interested, or did he really want to become the CEO? Well, it's none of my business anyway. The current CEO has already been decided. White's efforts are starting to be recognized by everyone lately. It's a done deal now. I had never spoken directly to Smith since we work in different departments. So, I was quite surprised when one day Smith called me out. Especially because of what he wanted to discuss. Kyle, I have a job I'd really like your help with. Me? Being from a different department. And having joined the company just a few months ago, I couldn't see myself being of much help to Smith. However, for the sake of White, who had brought me in, I wanted to do whatever I could. I know about you. You were mid-career hired through White's connections, right? Despite being told you're just a high school graduate. You've been working hard and achieving results. I see you as a strong employee who can deliver results under adversity. And I want your support for an upcoming negotiation. Hearing that, my eyes widened. I had no idea Smith thought so highly of me. I sometimes felt like he was glaring at me, but it seems that was just my imagination. Of course, if you think I'm up to the task, I'd be glad to help. I look forward to your guidance and encouragement. I bowed deeply, and Smith smiled refreshingly. You're very earnest, aren't you? Well then, I'm counting on you. Smith handed me some documents. What I was asked to do was to concisely summarize the documents for distribution. Order them as pamphlets. Film the presentation on the day and create minutes of the meeting because there will be questions in English. As I went through the documents to prepare them for the pamphlet, I was struck by the enormity of the numbers involved, the clients, projected expenses, personnel, and countries involved. It was a clear indication that this job was on a much larger scale than any I had tackled before. Preparing for all these tasks, it was impossible not to feel nervous. Besides Smith and myself, White herself was also going to attend. Though Smith would be leading the negotiations, it seems a greeting from the face of the company was necessary. The magnitude of the negotiation only added to my nerves. However, it was also an opportunity to contribute directly to White's work. I iterated over the pamphlet several times, seeking feedback from other employees until it was completed. On the day of the negotiation, waiting in front of the client's office, White arrived, followed shortly by Smith. However, Smith looked terribly pale. Frowning with furrowed brows, he seemed so unsteady on his feet, he might collapse at any moment. Smith, are you okay? Smith, what's wrong? Actually, I've been having dizziness and chills since this morning. I don't have a fever though. That's terrible, you should have let us know. It's my negotiation, so I couldn't just skip it. We can't have you standing up there in this condition. I'll handle the negotiation, so Smith, you rest. I'm sorry. Mister, Smith handed his documents from his bag to White. This is my cheat sheet, sorry for the trouble. Don't mention it, we're here to support each other in times of need. Thank you, Kyle, I'm counting on your support. Yes. Seeing Smith prioritize work despite his condition reminded me of my mother. I decided to give it my all for his sake as well. Smith was going to wait at a nearby cafe. He really should be going home, but he said he couldn't rest with the negotiation on his mind. We have to do our best to put Smith at ease. The presentation was in English, but White had the skills of a speech contest award winner from her student days. She should be able to handle it just as well as if it were in Japanese. I was preparing to take the minutes next to White as the negotiation began. The negotiation began, and White smoothly proceeded with the presentation in clear, easy-to-understand pronunciation. A hand was raised in the middle. It must be a question. White invited the questioner to proceed. Then, we were stunned. The questioner had started speaking in Chinese. It's not unusual for participants to have different nationalities. That's why we were proceeding in English, the global lingua franca. Why did they suddenly speak in Chinese? White, puzzled, nevertheless asked if the question could be repeated in English. Then we were met with a blatantly displeased expression. White, what's this about? The client's representative pressed White. We were told that there would be multilingual representatives at this negotiation. So we made time in our busy schedule to arrange this meeting. What, multilingual? I hadn't heard anything about that. Smith hadn't mentioned anything. Could this be some sort of mistake? The representative's face grew even more displeased at White's reaction. Are you telling me that your company lied? No, we didn't. So, your company would do anything to set up this negotiation? This becomes a matter of trust. It's a misunderstanding. Like White, I was also panicking. I felt I had to say something. But should someone like me step in? Wouldn't it be problematic for a newcomer to overstep? After all, as everyone says, I'm just a high school graduate with limited industry knowledge. It's okay, you're one of our employees. At that moment, I remembered something White once told me. That's right. I am an employee. My job is to support the negotiation. Please wait, I am the person in charge of that matter. I will respond on our behalf. To stop the criticism aimed at White, I raised my voice and stood up. As expected, all eyes in the room turned to me. Regarding your question earlier, I responded to the person who had asked the question in Chinese using Chinese. The questioner blinked at first, but then nodded as they listened to my explanation. Then another person raised their hand. This time, the question was in French. I attempted to respond in French. However, to my dismay, I didn't understand the technical terms. But I couldn't back down now, so I used gestures desperately to communicate. After answering that question, the earlier representative leaned in to look at my face. Look at that, you can do it. Well, haha. I apologize, I was supposed to handle the last Q&A session myself. No, we're sorry for interrupting, please continue. Yes, White, I'll take it from here. Oh. Though White was taken aback, there was no time to explain, and I was desperate. I explained in English and then a question came in German. I guessed the meaning of words I didn't know from the context of the questioner's remarks and answered. Switching back to English, then it was Indonesian. And back to English again, my head was about to spin. Yet, somehow, I managed to finish the presentation and bowed. Then applause erupted from around. You're incredible. To be honest, I wasn't expecting much, but to think you actually mastered multiple languages. The client CEO offered me a handshake. As I accepted, he said he had one last question for me. This question isn't related to work, but how many languages can you speak? I can converse properly in about 8 languages. Wow, do you have a passion for languages? Yes, my mother is a national interpreter and guide. She used to read me picture books from various countries when I was little, so I have precious memories associated with the languages of those countries. That's why I wanted to become proficient in languages like my mother and studied hard. I see, if we have a reliable partner like you, we would definitely like to do business with your company. Thank you so much. About an hour later, I left the office building, my legs barely able to carry me. Hey, Kyle, are you okay? Sorry, I just let my guard down. After that, the CEOs discussed future contracts, but I was bombarded with questions. Many employees were testing my linguistic skills for fun. They seemed happy to hear their native languages spoken fluently, taking turns throwing various languages at me. Failing here could jeopardize the trust we had built. I was on edge, hoping the contract discussions would end soon. Finally freed, here I am. There were no major mistakes, and the employees seemed to like me, but I was utterly drained. As I was about to head to the cafe where Smith was likely waiting, there he was standing right in front of me. Smith, are you feeling okay? It seems like the negotiation didn't go well, judging by your appearance. Seeing my exhausted state, Smith mistakenly shrugged his shoulders in disappointment. Kyle, despite asking for your support, this is the outcome. It's very regrettable. Actually, I thought you were a talent, White recognized, but it seems I was mistaken. Smith kept going on his own, leaving White and I feeling left out. He continued without care. To have failed such a significant negotiation, it's also a fault of White, isn't it? What's going on, Smith? I'm just stating the facts. This is a responsibility issue since you hired him, and I will pursue this in a company meeting. No. Being able to discern people is an important quality for a CEO. Be prepared for a loss of trust. Smith looked somewhat pleased despite his stern expression. Why would he say something so harsh? Could it be, did you lie to the client about speaking multiple languages, Smith? White looked at Smith suspiciously. He appeared nonchalant. Oh, I might have said something like that. It's quite difficult to secure a negotiation with this company. If such a small lie can get us an appointment, it's a small price to pay. They didn't really believe it, did they? What a thing to say, all this trouble because of Smith's lie. To begin with, it's unthinkable to secure a promise through such means. Could it be to discredit us? Is that why you pretended to be sick and didn't go to the business meeting? After all, it was Smith who made speaking multiple languages a condition, wasn't it? Why didn't you tell us, to trap us like this? That's not. Yes, that's right. It was an incredible speculation, but Smith admitted it readily. A president who can't overcome such a crisis doesn't deserve to be a president. That's what I was testing. What are you talking about? You could have caused a huge loss. White is right. The company's trust was on the verge of collapsing. And it was an irretrievable situation. Yet, seeming not to grasp the severity, Smith just snorted in disdain. Just one company, what does it matter? If I were the president, it wouldn't be a big issue. Besides, it's partly due to your lack of skills. If you had been more flexible, things might have gone smoothly. You seem to be under some misunderstanding, but I never said the negotiation failed. Huh? Smith's mouth gaped open in surprise. We managed to secure a provisional agreement, so neither Kyle nor I can be blamed. The only one who is problematic here is you. Why are you bragging? That's impossible. If you think it's a lie, why not check for yourself either way? Be prepared because I'll be reporting your actions at the meeting. White pulls me by the arm, saying, "Let's go." Leaving Smith standing there stunned, I left the scene. The next day, it turned out that not only did the business deal go well and we secured a significant contract, but Smith's actions were also brought up for discussion. Further investigation into his behavior revealed that he had been causing mistakes by pretending to help other employees, only to solve them himself and take the credit. Since his early days in the company, he had been quite competent and seemed to have trapped his colleagues to get more recognition. He firmly believed he would be the next president. However, it seems he attempted a kind of spiteful revenge when White was appointed. Smith, exposed for his misdeeds, was terminated for misconduct. Until the end, as he struggled, White scolded him sharply. "Now I understand why my predecessor chose me over you as president. My father used to say, Smith is capable but lacks the ability to value people. It's too soon for him to be president." It turns out the former president saw through his character. While I can somewhat understand Smith's frustration at not being recognized for his contributions to the company, the acclaim gained by stepping on others is worthless. I hope he reflects on his mistakes and makes a fresh start. After all, I'm from a different company myself. Once everything settled down, I was called back into the president's office. White bowed her head to me. "Kyle, I really can't thank you enough for what you've done this time. Because you managed to get us through that situation, we are where we are now. Please erase your head. I was just doing my job by providing support, nothing more than what was expected of me. And if anyone should be expressing gratitude, it's me. I've always been thankful to you, White, for giving me a chance when you picked me up at that time. I've always wanted to repay you. You've done more than enough. Your hard-earned language skills and the knowledge you've developed in this company are the best repayment you could offer. I'm truly amazed at how much you've grown in such a short period. As you know, I only have a high school diploma and my family isn't wealthy. I've painfully learned that not everyone is born equal. But I also understand that with one's own efforts, life can be enriched, so I was really just working hard for my own sake. You're very admirable, quite different from me." White smiled sadly. "What are you saying? Despite being suddenly appointed president, you've worked so hard to boost the company." "No, I don't deserve such praise. I use my power for my own selfish desires." "What do you mean by that?" "I brought Kyle in purely for personal reasons. I'm not fit to be a president," she said. I remember she never did clearly explain why she scouted me. "Personal reasons. Because Kyle was kind, that's all." "Huh. The first time we met, I had made several mistakes from the morning. And people were saying it's because I'm a new president or just another case of nepotism. I felt like I had hit rock bottom, like there was no one in this world on my side. Then Kyle, without knowing anything about the situation, was kind to me. I thought, this person could be my ally, so when I heard you were job hunting, I aggressively pulled you in. I just used you," White said, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. Not knowing how to comfort a crying woman, I felt utterly helpless. "Used? I don't see it that way at all. Thanks to you, I gained confidence and courage. I was able to use my language skills, which felt useless until now. I realized my efforts weren't in vain, and is it okay to say this now? Is it unfair? No, but now I have the courage to be able to help someone I have feelings for. As a woman, there's nothing happier than that." What? It might be presumptuous of me to say this, but that's not true at all. President White quickly grabs my hand. I could feel her warmth, higher than mine. "At first, I was just using you, but gradually I came to like you, Kyle, for your kindness and hard work. I wondered if such a convenient story could exist, but it's not about being lucky. It's a result of us being sincere and living our lives earnestly, looking forward." Then we went to visit the hospital where the former president, that is White's father, was admitted. We were there to report the success of the negotiation and the issues that had arisen within the company, as he had stepped down as president and taken the position of chairman. And we also reported about us. A good person has come into her life. I'm relieved. She has only been interested in work. And I was worried about her as a father. Oh, stop saying unnecessary things. I found their exchange as father and daughter endearing. Suddenly, I found myself wanting White to meet my mother. Moving forward, I need to study business management more so I can be of even greater help to White. It's no longer a life just about making money. Being able to strive for a richer way of living is happiness. Life is a journey of learning, as they say. There's nothing learned that's ever wasted. Taking that lesson to heart, I want to continue learning many things.